Our concern is that if taken, this committee action will set a terrible precedent that unleashes a dangerous new political weapon that reaches far beyond the former president and overturns decades of privacy protections for average Americans that have existed since the Watergate reforms.
All right, along a party line vote, all Republicans were against releasing Donald Trump's tax returns from the years 2015 to 2020. All Democrats were for it. But no matter how you feel about the former president, think about what's going on here. Even if you think as a candidate later as a president, he should have released the returns because he's president of the United States. There's no law that says he should or has to do that. But we've seen some laments out of the likes of Ken Griffin, the hedge fund billionaire, who had some qualms with the IRS. All of a sudden, ProPublica, the big online forum, releases, someone at the IRS released him, all of Griffin's tax returns. They're exposed. It happened to Elon Musk, happened to Jeff Bezos, happened to a host of others. There is a pattern here. And is it the right thing to do, or is it even legal to do? Andrew McCarthy, National Review Institute senior fellow, Fox News contributor. I always try to step back, no matter how people politically feel about the former president. Is this right to expose or to release his returns?
No, of course it's not, Neil. And, you know, I'm glad that you mentioned him. I usually myself try to take him out of it because he's such a lightning rod. But the fact is, if they could do it to Donald Trump, if they can do it to Elon Musk, if they can do it to some of the other people you just mentioned to, why would average Americans think it can't be done to them? It used to be that what the IRS and the committees in Congress that have jurisdiction to deal with tax return information, their understanding was to the extent that Congress needed tax return information in order to do legislative business, they didn't need to have the nominal, the name identifying information. They just needed the raw tax data. Now they're using that power pretextually to get their hands on the tax data of people they don't like, and then they figure out reasons to make it public. It's really outrageous.
You know what's wild about it, too? This is a fairly recent phenomenon. You get to be my age, Andrew. Recent is this post-1976 period where presidents and presidential candidates have released their tax returns. It didn't happen with Lyndon Johnson, didn't happen with John Kennedy, didn't happen with Eisenhower, it didn't happen before. So it's a more recent last half-century thing. Again, I'm old enough to say that's recent. But I do wonder when, news sites like ProPublica apparently have connections with the IRS, when they hear these billionaires complaining about their battles with the IRS, and then someone must feed them these documents, as Ken Griffin is saying. That's not good. That someone is not only breaking the law, but doing permanent harm.
Yeah, and Neil, the reason that we almost never catch leakers in the government is because information is too diffuse, it's too dispersed. So what are they going to do now? How many billions of dollars have they given to the IRS in the last group of appropriations? So we're going to have even more people with even more access to information, which always leads to even more leaking. And then the government saying, gee whiz, we can't figure out who the culprit is because too many people have access to the information.
Then you got to worry about how far it goes. If you have a vendetta against someone, again, forget the politics, forget Trump, whether you like billionaires or not, who have their own beefs with the IRS. It doesn't take much for someone who doesn't like something you've said out of turn. And they said, oh, I'm going to put his records out there because there's no liability for the social media or other news site that does so, right?
Yeah, it's ironic that, the beef with Trump, which I share in many ways, is that he's a norm breaker, because there are a lot of things that are good about norms. But I think the people who have been the biggest Trump critics are as big norm breakers as he is. And, you see some of the things that went on with the January 6th committee. You see what goes on with the Ways and Means Committee in this instance. All those things become precedents. And, what goes around comes around. That was what they said when I was growing up in the Bronx. And I think they say it in Washington, too, right?
Well put. Well put, Andrew. Thank you very much. Andrew McCarthy, again, whatever your views of Donald Trump, take the politics out of it. And what if it were you? And what if a beef that you had suddenly gets spotted all over the media, including your tax returns? How would you feel?